I don't know if your temperament's like mine. Obviously, you have good days, bad days. I feel like bipolar sometimes, and especially because the position we're in. News only comes to us if it's very good or very bad. One of them. So how do you deal with that swing really? Like yeah, and how do you deal with the challenging times
I'd say behind you, you've got the pale blue dot up there on the wall, and I've got mine.
from you? Thank you.
There's my one. I'd say this here, like if I'm ever having a bad day, and I don't think I have that many bad days. Like I'm just not like I don't have a day where I'm like, oh, I feel bad. Like there's some you have some stressful days, but I would say like whenever if I ever get caught in a trap where I might be thinking about something too aggressively or too emotionally, I do just think about that kind of thesis of life, and it's like nothing's that deep really. We're all just little bipedal organisms navigating this planet, trying to figure out a way together. It doesn't have to be that deep, and I shouldn't let it make me sad. I shouldn't let business shit make me sad. That's kind of how I see it. Like if I feel sad because of something in business, then I'm just doing it to myself. It's kind of self-inflicted because you want to build this business, so it's on you if you feel sad. It's different in a relationship. If a relationship makes me sad, and that's fair enough. But if business does, I feel like I'm losing something that's like not quite tangible, but maybe I'm losing a part of my character or a strength in my character that I don't want to have that kind of weakness. So I try and think of those things. And it's hard to do because you can have some really stressful days. But I try not to let it make me sad and just sort of go, I'll deal with that pragmatically. And that's how I'll deal with it. Other than that, I don't really have any great advice in terms of like outlets. Exercise and stuff's always good. Maybe go on a run, clear your head and shit like that. Jack, what would you say? You've dealt with some stressful times.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, last few months have probably been the most stressful. I think everyone is different. I think that us on here probably have a very quite a well seasoned appetite for stress, and it's. I actually find that I struggle now with being so desensitized with normal life, and I actually have gone so far to the point where I'm just used to taking on problems that I'm almost sometimes unemotional, and I actually find it more difficult going back the other way and trying to be sympathetic or empathetic or be real. And I actually would say that one tip that I have for you guys is I don't tend to. I'm not one of those people that I like to vent or share. I'll very rarely need to do that. I just say what I need to say, and if I want to have a conversation with someone, I will. But I won't ever bring my dirty laundry or problems to a conversation. I very rarely need to do that. But the problem that then transpires is if you're not communicating with, for example, my wife, that I've had a stressful day and I've been up against it, it then has an impact on her because she's like, why is he quiet? Why has he not asked how my day was? So communicating that just to say, look, I've had a shit day. Um, I don't really want to talk about it, but I also want you to acknowledge that I've had that shit day because maybe I might not be as excitable and running around the house, and being as fun as I normally am. So that's one advice I would say. Portray that to the people that you live or spend time with because that's quite important. Some people might want to vent, and that's a good way I think of sort of sharing that load. And then similar to you guys, like it is what it is, and it will be what it will be. Like often people say to me, "When's this going to happen?" I go, "When it happens." Like what more can I do? I'm doing everything that I can. I always have like the pale blue dot. I always try and remember one sentence which I believe sort of keeps me always at a fairly stable, logical mindset, which is you can only worry about the things that you can control. And you always have a choice. You can deal with it and do what you need to do, or you can leave it and deal with the consequences thereafter. And that, like, one sentence is just sort of to manage the things that, if something like really bad, like, my EA will often go, I'm really stressed about this. You've got to do this, 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 and this. And I'm like, well, it'll be what it'll be. If I'm late, I'm late. If I get there and I'm not prepared, I'm not prepared. If it's a no, it's a no. Like you don't. I kind of almost see it as a bit like you roll the dice again after that go. Like it's just it's not that emotionally important.
I think also understanding being gratuitous as well to the good things in your life, like when you are in darker moments. If like most days, like almost every day, I think about how lucky I am that everyone I know and love is is healthy alive, sound of mind, here to play, here to work. Like that to me is enough for me to be like, it's a positive day. Like, it's a good day, because shit can happen. Shit can happen in your life, completely unrelated to business, and your whole life could just go boom. Everything could just fucking disappear. And for every day that doesn't happen, and I'm positively moving in the right direction, yeah, I might have business struggles. I think being grateful, and you don't have to go, thank you God for everything you've given me. But I think having an underlying appreciation for the things that are going right that aren't necessarily business related, the fact you have a fiance, or the fact you might have children to spend time with, and healthy parents and stuff like that, all those things should make us grateful and highlight those things in moments of difficulty. And that can be hard to do.
I think everyone might have their sort of mind clearing moment, whether it's going for a run. Mine is actually just, I love solitude and being on my own. And I also love going to the gym just with my headphones on and just doing my own thing for an hour. And that really does give me value in like my sort of mental health and what I'm doing. And actually, I try and turn negative things into positive character building things. So to give you an example for that, and I said earlier on this, before we went online, all of the stuff that's happened to our businesses over the last few months, it has been a massive learning curve. So I always want to take learning and positive actions and how I've adapted as a person to improve every time something bad happens to me. But being in the acquisition side of things, often I've got we're the two sites that I mentioned we're buying in legals at the moment. Both of them are actually quite bullish sellers. I would say that one of them's a big time trader in London, and they do not take any shit. And the other one's like quite a big time developer, and they're trading the site on. And sometimes I'll go into a meeting and I know I'm going to get a bollocking. I just know they're going to be like, why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done that? You're slow, you're not communicating, or whatever it may be. And I know that you could there's two ways you can go into that meeting. You can go into that meeting and take offense and get emotional or argue, right, in that situation. But I go into it going, I can kind of feel it's coming. How is that? And then I just go, from me to win this deal over, so to remove my ego, my emotions, I remove that and I go, for me to get this deal done, I need to let them shit all over me for a good 20 minutes so they feel that they're important. I need to then, basically give them an understanding that I go, I understand that's really difficult. Actually, now you've said that, that's made me rejudge how we've gone. Thanks. And I'm sorry for that, and acknowledge it. And then progress into a place going forward. Go, right, what action points do we need to go forward here? And I leave the meeting with the best result I possibly could have had. But it just sometimes requires that thing that could have been really stressful is almost part of just character building. And that's how I constantly look at those situations.
That's salesmanship, listen, agree, close. You always start something like that, whether it's an objection or something positive. Listen, agree, close is always a way to get what you want out of life, isn't it? Regardless of what the circumstance is. If you listen to someone, you agree with what they're saying, and then you take it in a direction of travel that you feel more comfortable with, people rarely will have a negative response to it, unless it's bad and they go, look, shut the fuck up, don't distract from the point, and you know what point I want about. That can be a precarious situation. But yeah, if you listen to people nicely, you agree with what they're saying and understand it, then some people just don't have the humility to do that. Some people just won't listen and agree to an issue that they've caused or something like that. They'll want to go, yeah, but you don't understand because this. Second you do that, particularly with a client or an investor, you just lose them and you just end up in friction and in fights. And it's just not worth it. Every week, all four of us get around a mic, talk about property and business. So make sure you go subscribe to the Ground Up Podcast.